We're looking back this morning on a death row case in Utah 42 years ago. The national media covered at the Converge at the Utah State Prison to witness the execution of Gary Gilmore. In 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled capital punishment was unconstitutional, but that changed only 4 years later. For every crime, there's a story, and the truth matters. Here's ABC4's senior crime and punishment correspondent Marcos Ortiz with the Justice Files.
Gary Gilmore, who was convicted of murdering 2 people in Utah County, became the first person to be executed in the United States after the U.S. Supreme Court reversed itself. Gilmore gained international attention, and his story was even made into a movie.
Put your arms underneath your body.
The 1982 movie, The Executioner Song, brought to life Gary Gilmore's moment in criminal history.
This one's for me.
24-year-old Max Jensen was killed by Gilmore in 1976 at a service station in Orem. The next night, Gilmore walked into a motel in Provo.
Can I help you?
Night manager Benny Bushnell was shot and killed. Gilmore walked away with the money. Gilmore was arrested after someone saw him throw a gun into the bushes right after the motel shooting. 3 months after he was arrested, Gilmore was convicted of capital murder and ordered to die. University of Utah law professor and former federal judge Paul Cassell has followed the case for years.
What made the Gilmore case death eligible was that it was a murder for money. It was an armed robbery.
Gilmore's execution would be the first in the nation since the U.S. Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional in 1972. Then it reversed itself after death penalty laws were changed.
Utah, other states passed new modern death penalty laws. Gilmore was the first case in which one of those new modern death penalty laws was carried out.
From the outset, Gilmore wanted to be executed and chose the firing squad instead of hanging.
I simply accepted a sentence that was given to me. I've accepted sentences all my life.
His desire to die was followed, but others wanted to save his life. His mother filed an appeal, but the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear her plea. His execution date was set for November 15, 1976, at 8 in the morning.
Traditionally, there have been 5 men on the firing squad. Those men are armed with high-powered rifles.
But against his wishes, the ACLU intervened and blocked the execution on 3 occasions. Their main objective: it would open the floodgates for executions nationwide.
It would lead to more insanity around the whole issue of the death penalty. And the implementation of the death penalty is indeed an insane issue.
But Gilmore wanted the ACLU to stay out of it. The governor twice issued stays of execution. He wanted the Board of Pardons to decide if death was appropriate in Gilmore's case. During a Board of Pardons hearing in November of 1976, Gilmore made it quite clear.
It seems that the people, especially the people of Utah, they want the death penalty, but they don't want executions. And when it became a reality that they might have to carry one out, well, I started backing off on it. Well, I took them literal and serious when they sentenced me to death.
The stays of execution angered Gilmore. In November, he attempted suicide, recovered, but tried again the next month. His execution was now set for January 17, 1977. National and international media converged at the Utah State Prison. Protesters held vigils. The ACLU made one last attempt to save his life, but it was denied 30 minutes before his execution. An ABC reporter described Gilmore's last moments.
The warden, having read aloud the legal order that Gilmore must be shot for his crime, asked quietly for any last words. Gilmore said, "Let's do it."
The order of the 4th Judicial District Court of the state of Utah has been carried out. Gary Mark Gilmore is dead.
At 8:05 in the morning, Gilmore's wish was carried out. He was shot 4 times through the heart. Reporters were given access to where Gilmore was shot. They took pictures of bullet holes posed in front of the chair. The ACLU was prophetic. Since his execution, capital punishment is now a way of life.
Gilmore signaled that in modern America, you can have a death penalty statute that survives constitutional scrutiny.
Gilmore murdered 2 people. He was a convicted killer. His own uncle once called him a coward, but the same uncle was his last visitor before he was shot.
It was very upsetting to me, but he got his wish. He did die, and he died in dignity.
It was another 19 years before there was another execution by firing squad in the U.S., and it took place at the Utah State Prison when John Albert Taylor was executed. After that, the legislature changed future executions to lethal injection. For the Justice Files, Marcus Ortiz, ABC4 News.